but has won 3 in a row, including the tie-dye guy, or the tie-dye guy, I guess, the Hangry Canuck, and last week taking down BT. So some fantastic races by both of these guys, and I expect nothing less tonight. Joining me in the booth here as we kick things off is Up to NG. How are you doing, sir?
I'm excited. This is going to be a great race, and we have the cursed belt in the gold already. And with strength 11, it's a little bit of a question on whether you want to go ahead and try and save this gold, or if you want to get out there and start fighting some enemies. I feel like it's kind of borderline to where, well, now we have some swamp nearby, so now we might want to save that gold. So both runners doing so. See maybe if they can run out and find a town, get some weaponry. Interesting start here. So there's a couple other things to note about the cursed belt. First of all, if you do lose all this gold, the cursed belt can be sold for 180 gold, which is just as much as it costs to buy a copper sword. Of course, the early town right off the bat is Hawksness, but there's another town, so we got a rapid fire start here.
Good to see towns right away, like you said, with that swamp. Oh, and it's cold too, so that's fantastic.
So yeah, like I said, there's a little bit of a borderline on strategies here. So we have a hand axe available right away, and Larry does go with that. And there's a potential search spot here in coal as well. But thilotilo pretty much abandoning the gold so far and just choosing to fight the early enemies because, as mentioned, we do have enough strength to defeat some early enemies pretty quickly and get off level 1. But the towns are so close that he does catch them on his screen. And he'll be actually resetting now that he sees the town there. So interesting that he's going to give up the 4 experience points. And this puts him a little bit behind AngryLarry now, who is kind of wrapping up all of his tasks that can be accomplished in coal for now.
Yeah, racking up the armor right away. And seeing that hand axe with the gold chest right away, that's about as good of a start as you can find equipment-wise. That's pretty ridiculous.
And AngryLarry chooses to use up the rest of his gold while he still has it over here in the item shop, which is a little bit of a walk to get to, but you know, if you can buy yourself some herbs and torches. He equips the dragon scale as well, I believe. Or at least he bought a dragon scale. I think he equipped it. So now when you run into an enemy like this and take a death, it doesn't feel so bad because you've already used up most of your gold. And now the race is on to get off level 1 with the hand axe. Puts them up to 26 attack power, so they can easily fight magicians and scorpions at this point already.
That Magia Wyvern is not going to put up with any guff, though. Hand axe or not. Or Drakey. Magia Drakey, I'm sorry.
Both runners reaching level 2 with some stat gains. I'm not sure if I've noticed any spells for either runner, but not really needed at this point. Already we can fight this Drakima for 20 experience points on Tilotilo's side, so quickly seeking out the secondary zones that are a little bit further away from the castle with the next tier of enemies. And we have level 3, so a pretty quick start already for these runners. One of the nice things about that armor, of course, is that you can just walk around in this swamp and not worry about the damage. So if you're looking for a certain zone, you can just head on over to the west, let's say, just go straight into the swamp, no problem. And Larry also level 3, bringing 7 more power. So already when you're up into the mid-30s for power, you're looking for all those secondary zone enemies. Like the wolf would probably be the best example, metal scorpion. Those are really high-value enemies at this juncture. But even this scorpion here for Larry, or the Drakima or the Druin, this will get you off these early levels really quickly now.
Yeah, that scorpion, that was quite a twist of fate for Tilo. He gets a Kaishin Negata and then turns around and gets torched by Dragon Lord Two Breath.
So if you stray away from the early zones, you do find yourself a red dragon nearby as AngryLarry gets sent back to the castle. The early zones are kind of shaped in a cross shape. You have Zone 0 is directly on top of Tantegel Castle, and then to the north and south, there's a zone with some slightly stronger enemies, and then to the east and west, there's another different zone with slightly stronger enemies. But if you go a little bit diagonal, you could find any monster in the whole game. So since those zones can be offset in some ways, sometimes it doesn't take much to wander into some place that you don't want to be quite yet. But in just a couple of more levels, they'll probably be ready to go exploring.
Yeah, it looks like thilotilo here is taking advantage of that cursed belt to load himself up on the early game items and probably get loaded up on herbs here.
Yep, that's one of the things that can help you start off the exploration if you have a stack of herbs, assuming you haven't found a heal spell yet. So this is one of the key decisions, is when to abandon these early enemies and go exploring, or if you should try and grind one more level. Depends a lot on your circumstances, individual to the seed, how much attack power you have. In this case, they have Erdrick's armor, which helps tremendously. You can heal walk your way between battles and take a lot less damage from enemies, defense breaking some enemies already. So once they get their attack power up into the 50s, maybe like AngryLarry has now on level 5, it may be time to get started. AngryLarry is choosing maybe to go one more level. But all the pieces are in place here to get started on this seed already, and we're only 6 minutes in.
Yeah, they've got some decent enemies here. I think going to 6 won't be any stretch for either of them. Going to 7 might be the first kind of big decision to make.
We're going to get to see what's in the bonus cave, or the Stones of Sunlight Caves 1 chest, and it's probably an herb, I guess. They don't have keys yet, if I recall. So there is a heal spell available for AngryLarry on level 6. So that, to me, is it's time to get started on exploring the map. So now you can heal up between battles. It's got plenty of attack power. I don't know. I don't know about you, JJ, how you assess when to get started, but I've come up with what I'm calling the Wraith Knight test, where if you start exploring and you run into a Wraith Knight and you feel like you want to fight that enemy, then to me it's time to start exploring, because now you have enough enemies that you can run into where it's not like a waste of your time, where you're not just running away from every single enemy. So I don't know if you have like a certain threshold, but that's kind of my gauge these days. And to me, if you're up into the 50s for attack power, you can do reasonable damage to a Wraith Knight at this point, and you have the heal spell. Unfortunately, if he does take a few steps out there, he just continues to run into these red dragons, which is by far the worst enemy that you want to see right now.
Yeah.
So maybe he's trying to explore and he just can't. So I don't know. thilotilo is wandering away already on level 4 here. So a little bit of a divergence with that particular decision, but
it is a big balancing act trying to determine when you want to start straying, because it's definitely, you can't just count on one thing. You have to have the hit points to withstand some enemies. You have to have the strength to be able to kill them within a decent amount of turns. I would say Larry's in a good spot here to start venturing, but like you said, the red dragons are definitely not what you want to see this close to start.
In the early game, it may be the most important strategic decision. Some people favor what they call early exploration, where they're just on purpose, they're just kind of making little probing runs to see if they can find something important, like that Stones of Sunlight cave that thilotilo found. If it happened to have Erdrick's sword, that's a pretty big deal if you find it really early. But besides that, you're going to want to really be able to maintain your exploration, because if you continue dying every time you go out, it's costly. It costs you half your gold, but it also prevents you from progressing on your map exploration, sends you back to start, and it takes a little time to get back out of the castle, and meanwhile you're not killing enemies. So You don't want to get it going too early necessarily, but yeah, it's a big decision. I think AngryLarry's balanced it pretty well. Like this Wolf Lord, he can already probably defeat this Wolf Lord, choosing instead to run away because he wants to get through this whole mountain cave here in one go, with only so many resources to work with.
Yeah, the Wraith and the Wolf Lord, those are guys you want to see right now.
Yeah, I think he should have fought that Wolf Lord unless he noticed previously that it has a special ability that I missed. That's right in that next tier of enemies that is outside of what you'll find in the early zones. The Wolf is the strongest enemy you'll see nearby, but the Wolf Lord, you know, the Spectre, the Wraith, the Druid Lord, that's kind of like your next level of enemies. If you're not going to fight those, then you might as well not really leave the castle area. That's kind of how I look at it. But now we have an Axe Knight kind of preventing him from... well, he gets away from the Axe Knight, so... see if he can manage to get all 5 treasure chests in one pass here.
So we do have the harp, so that's, I think, the only thing of consequence so far. What this last chest will be, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and if you did not happen to find a key in here, there's not necessarily any reason to run around death warping. We do have a metal slime in this zone that's in the mountain cave, and he's run into a few of them already, but so far unsuccessful defeating them. It would be a pretty big boost at this stage of the game, but it's fairly difficult to actually defeat one.
Yeah, so we can see, I mean, races that are determined by something like if the sword or a key were in the mountain cave, finding that first and getting a head start on that, along with his early experience lead, could really put the spurs to it, but no such luck this time around.
So, AngryLarry is fighting an Axe Knight right now. He's first up, stop the spell, and he's doing 3 or 4 damage at a time. To me, you know, I would fight the Wolf Lord before I take on an Axe Knight. It does seem to be pretty spell heavy, and the spell is blocked, so this would be a huge win if he can chop this guy down 3 or 4 damage at a time.
Yeah, it's almost, though, I mean, it's 130 experience, so it's tempting to sit there and hack away, but you could, like you said, you run away from this, find 2 Wolf Lords, and you're pretty much right there in probably half the time.
Yeah, the other thing is, if you don't have the outside spell, he may have just been done exploring that region, happy to take a death warp, just kind of go in a different direction from the castle. You know, if he had found a key in there, it would be even better, because then you'd warp back to the castle and you'd get to explore the treasury, but he's just going a different direction now, so it was basically a death warp, and if he had happened to take it down, then all's the better.
Later on, and as we get to the end game, those Axe Knights are quite literally going to be playing with fire, because it's heavy stop spell, but it looks like the next ability is Dragon Lord 2 Breath, so when that's going to pop out and get you.
So this town way down in the corner thilotilo found was Garenham. There is a silver shield in that shop, so if it's not too far away from start, might be something to keep track of for later. We don't know yet if there's the gold grind available because they don't have keys yet, but there is a silver shield in the seed, and I think there was a broadsword in that shop as well, perhaps for later as well. And the dungeon certainly has red dragons in it. thilotilo not making it far into this dungeon, unfortunately for him. It's going to be sent home. Has just made it to level 6, while AngryLarry is making progress through level 7.
That had to be Mountain Cave, that thilotilo was in there and got bounced by that red dragon.
Yeah, interesting, just the RNG that can occur where AngryLarry went through there and got through the whole dungeon, and thilotilo makes 3 steps and finds a red dragon, so a little bit unfortunate. And here's the staff cave, so Larry already does have the harp because he went into that mountain cave, and so he is able to get this out of the way on the first pass, as opposed to having to remember where this guy is and having to come back here later. So that's a nice thing to get out of the way while you're wandering.
And at level 7, he got heal more as well, unless I missed that on an earlier level.
Yeah, that'll be good
That's
for
all.
later. Right now, they only have 42 hit points. They already had the heal spell, so... but yeah, as soon as they get to where they're going to want to start fighting, like, the Hawksness enemy or something like that, the heal more is quite handy. So it's good to get that out of the way early as well. And you need the heal more spell to beat the game as well. So now we don't have to worry about that. Looks like thilotilo has found himself a little grind spot here in the hills. I don't recall exactly what pops up here, but I suppose Green Dragon is one of them. Probably not what he was looking for, but something. He's near the castle, but he's a little bit in that diagonal zone where you could have a random enemy such as the Green Dragon. So not sure if maybe he's decided that level 6 just isn't cutting it. Just wants to get one more level near the castle in the secondary zones. Shouldn't take too long with 55 attack power with that hand axe and the Erdrick armor at the disposal here.
Larry got smoked by an Axe Knight and immediately gets fun policed by the Red Dragon.
Tell you what, there are a lot of red dragons in this seed so far. This is going to be one of those seeds. We're going to see a lot of deaths if they happen to just be all over the map. We don't have the hit points yet to be able to take too many punches from them. They don't seem to spam any weak abilities like the hurt spell or anything like that, and you really can't run away from them at this juncture. AngryLarry is going strength agility, so he has a little bit more agility than thilotilo will, but 49 agility is, I want to say, less than a 30% chance to run from a red dragon, so that's going to be tough if that continues.
Yeah, that's a good way to get frustrated quick. If you're just continually taking, 20 paces away from the castle and getting rebooted, that's rough. That'll weigh on you quickly.
So notice something AngryLarry just did there that a lot of less experienced runners don't do, is that he arrived in the town of Cantlin, which seems like it has all sorts of stuff for you to do, but here he only had about 100 gold pieces and he's already got pretty good equipment. So he just took a step straight out of the town and he'll just come back later when he has keys. It's easy to kind of waste your time like running around in a town, and then it turns out that there's just nothing for you to do. So these two runners are experienced enough so that they make those kind of quick decisions and save yourself a little bit of time there. Kind of the same thing here. Garenham has a key lock door. It has a shop. He only has about 240 gold, so unless he wants to look for a small shield right now, it's sort of a waste of time to go in there. Doesn't particularly need an inn at this point either, so I like the way Larry's been exploring the map so far.
Ooh, heal more on Druid Lords. That's less than ideal.
Yep, that should be an enemy that you would want to see most of the time, even just with 59 attack power. Druid Lord is right in the wheelhouse, but they don't have, they don't have hurt more yet. They don't have, I don't even think they have the hurt spell yet, from what I remember. So it's, if you can't get it with your axe, because he's got heal more, then he's kind of off the table for now. Oh, so the Wolf Lord did have hurt more. I wonder if AngryLarry noticed that earlier when I mentioned that he had run away from one. So that's one of the things the runners will have to do while they're progressing through the seed, is to kind of remember which enemies have which abilities, because that is one of the things that's randomized. And as you run into enemies for the first time and have your first fight, you want to make mental notes of what they're doing, so that you can stay away from ones that are dangerous and maybe go after ones that are a little less dangerous than normal. Some enemies will be more valuable in terms of the experience and how much effort you have to put into them. So hurt more for the Wolf Lord. Probably avoid that for a little while. Fortunately, with the Erdrick's armor, the Hurtmore hurts less than it otherwise would have, but it still does damage in the mid-20s. They only have about 42 hit points right now. So you don't really want to deal with that.
They're still at a point where 2 Hurtmores can take him down easily.
Yeah. They do have the stop spell. We saw AngryLarry use that against the Axe Knight earlier. So that's one of the ways that you can deal with a Hurtmore only enemy, but right now Larry has found a little desert region with skeletons and scorpions. I think he just wants to polish off this level, which at 600 total experience points he will have level 8. One more scorpion would do nicely. Perhaps he's just kind of fishing for Hurtmore at this point. Or, I don't know what other spells he would be looking for. Maybe Repel if they don't have it.
Or just fishing for a big HP gain.
Which it looks like they didn't get, as far as I can tell from our tracker here.
No, a fat 2. But he did get hurt more, so that is big.
Okay, well, it's go time for Larry then, as far as getting back into exploring rather than grinding. He can now Hurtmore this Wolf Lord nicely. It's a quick 52 experience, if I recall. So now things are opening up, and thilotilo is going to need to get to that level quickly. And he finds the grave. It's the other of the 2 major dungeons. 3 of the 5 chests will be immediately available. And there are 2 others as soon as they find keys. And thilotilo making note of the fact that the Axe Knight is spamming stop spell, and he might be going for it here. Excellent move will give him part of the way. With only 59 attack power, you're not doing much damage to the Axe Knight, but this would be huge if he could pull this off. He's almost there due to that critical hit. As long as it doesn't break out the heal more or something like that. And there it goes. And that's level 8 just like that.
And now, any more that he finds while he's traversing here, he's going to just be able to hurt more. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, so we have the heal, the stop spell, the heal more, and the hurt more. It's a pretty decent bunch of spells, and a crit on the metal slime. So he, just like that, he's closed the experience gap. It's just about 100 experience behind. I thought AngryLarry, when he learned that hurt more, was going to jump out to a nice lead, but no. We're going to see what's in these 3 chests. And there is a key for thilotilo. So things are looking up. If he, depending on where this dungeon's located, if he wanted to, he could go straight down and use that key to do the lower levels of the grave. He could also walk out of the dungeon and then straight back in to pick up an extra key with which to go down into the lower levels of the dungeon. Or he could just get out of here for now and make a note of where this dungeon is for later. And come back if necessary to clear out the rest of those. But at some point soon, he could open up the treasury in Tantegel. He's also seen Garenham. It looks like he's actually setting up a death warp for a potential gold grind. Of course, that he'll have to have a bit of luck because he's only opened 3 chests in this dungeon. But it's not a bad play. Just warp yourself back to Tantegel, check out the treasury, and maybe you'll back into a gold grind.
Yeah, that would be ideal. I think I like your idea of walking out, walking back in, and seeing if you can't clear it while you're here.
Yeah, depending on how many resources you have remaining, if you think it's reasonable, that might be a way to go. Looks like he is trying for a death warp, but kind of there's not any enemies in here. He saw an Axe Knight earlier. And now he's exiting and re-entering. So there you go. Maybe he's rethinking. Now, the gold grind is off the table right now. He's got to go open those 3 chests again in order to reinitiate the gold grind. if he were to get sniped by an Axe Knight right now, he would not have the benefit. But he is going and reopening the chests, and with this second key, let's see if he takes a dive here. So there are a few different options strategically, and this is what he is going with. A little bit light on resources, but the enemies here don't seem to be too painful. It's defense breaking a lot of these smaller enemies with that Erdrick's armor. And he is able to heal walk himself between battles. So as long as he doesn't just run into a red dragon or something crazy, he very well may get to these chests in one pass here.
Larry's in the grave now too, making his way around to those 3 chests.
Yeah, and it looks like he's on his way out, so he must have gotten those chests, and that would mean that he has a magic key as well. So both runners with keys at around the same time, and with a similar experience totals, we have ourselves a race, guys. AngryLarry with a slight exploration lead because he was able to complete the mountain cave, which did have the harp, and he's traded that in for the staff. But, both runners have hurt more now. They have keys, and the lower levels do have the Stones of Sunlight, and AngryLarry did not go back in for that dive because he was down to 1 MP and he just didn't feel like he had the resources. So he noped out of there. Meanwhile, he's got Rimmeldar, so he could just buy more keys. He's only got 1 right now, so interesting development there. But he's going to have to eventually go back to the bottom of the grave for those stones. So interesting development. The fact that thilotilo is doing this now has paid off for him. And he's re-entered Rimmeldar, and we're going to get to see what's in the 1 chest in the inn here at Rimmeldar, requiring 2 keys to get there. And it is the fairy water. Really only the token could have been interesting, or perhaps Erdrick's sword could have been there as well. So you always do have to check that chest, but just the fairy water this time, and he's down to 4 keys. He can either run around and buy those keys back, or oftentimes runners will decide that 4 is enough for right now. And large shield upgrade for AngryLarry, so he's got all kinds of defense. And oftentimes when you have the Erdrick's armor and the large shield at this stage of the game, and time kind of goes on, you may never get that silver shield. So we'll have to see later on if he does end up setting up a gold grind, because he's already done the mountain cave fully, and he's already sort of half done the grave. So it may be, now that he has that large shield, we might not see a gold grind from Larry. Especially if he can just grind up enough for a broadsword the old-fashioned way. On the other hand, thilotilo does have a grind initiated, but I don't know yet if there's gold in any of these chests.
He's trying to figure out what all he's got.
Sometimes you do this and you think you're grinding herbs, and you end up with like 6 torches in your inventory, so...
That must have been keys, I think.
And there is the gold in the last chest that he checked. So, and he already knows where the silver shield is in the town of Garenham, and I think Garenham also had a broadsword. I'm not sure if we've seen a flame sword in any of the towns that he has visited, but I would think that his next stop here is Garenham, potentially after a safety save. There are red dragons all over the map. And AngryLarry has gone back to Garenham. He's in the back door here.
Yeah, he's probably one to cross this off his list to decide what he needs to do.
Oh, we have Erdrick's sword and the death necklace in the back door. Unfortunately for thilotilo, I believe that that is going to be his destination. So if he does go there for the silver shield, you can bet that he's going to open that door and get that sword as well. But for now, we got the big stick, and now it becomes even more likely that AngryLarry will not do this gold grind, and he's going to stick with the large shield for the rest of the game. You never know, but that's my prediction. He is on a strength agility build, so he'll get more defense power than thilotilo will through sheer statistics gains.
I think you're right.
And the tablet cave back here has one chest. It could be the token, but it's the fighter's ring. Actually, fairly decent find as far as the tablet cave goes. That's +2. He does put it on for +2 attack power. And he doesn't have outside, though, so he's got to walk his way back out. Getting a little lost on the way, but... thilotilo going to check the basement first before he exits. This has got to probably be the jerk cave or the swamp cave.
Yeah, it's got to be the...
And I didn't catch if he did a safety save. There are red dragons everywhere, but Garanham is very close. Oh, he's going with coal. I guess we did see a silver shield here as well, did we not?
I don't remember. But
the silver shield and the flame sword are here, and unfortunately for him, that means he's not going directly back to Garanham. But the flame sword for now is almost as good as the Erdrick sword, so not too big of a problem if he doesn't go back to Garanham for a little while here.
I was going to say, he walked through the throne room but didn't save, so he must have... Well, he obviously did know that he was that close to both.
And I like this routing. Now that he has hurt more and he has a good weapon and really good defense, straight over to Hawksness for a potential encounter to get the token here.
Yeah, this could put him just the mountain cave away from pretty much being done and grinding.
And oh look, we're going to have a high five in the town of Hawksness. Larry walks right by thilotilo, so he's going to get to see, well, simultaneous Axonites. thilotilo and AngryLarry. I wouldn't be surprised if they both camp out here for like 3 more levels right now.
This is going to be close to... I believe thilotilo still has the shortest time posted in the tournament, and this might beat it. This is set up for a very fast seed.
And Larry's the one that searched the spot, and it is the fairy flute. thilotilo hasn't bothered searching it yet. But it's the fairy flute in the spot. So that means we are going to have to find either the overworld location or what chests have we not seen for the token.
Did Larry check the chest in Rimeldar?
Yes, he did. And there was fairy water there. We've seen the Stones Cave. We've seen the Tablet Cave. We've now seen the back of Garanham. We've seen the Tanteagle Treasury. We've seen all of the Grave. And we've seen all of the Mountain Cave. So the token is going to be on the map. And they both do know where Cantlin is. And they have keys. And they could go ahead and get those coordinates. I'm not sure if they both know. I think they both have chests that they haven't yet opened. But, you know, from our chairs here, we know what's in all the chests, and we know that the token is on the overworld. So, from their perspectives, I'm not sure if it's the right play to just assume that the token is on the overworld just yet, you know, and go in that direction in terms of your routing. But, be interesting to see who does it first.
Yeah, so Larry still needs the stones in the grave, right? And thilotilo still needs the harp out of the mountain cave. So I would guess that they try to track that down first, clear out the respective caves, and then head for Cantlin. But it's hard to say.
Yeah,
I mean,
on the other hand, after you get keys, it's oftentimes really tempting to just revisit those towns. They've already seen where Garanham is and where Cantlin is. So unless it's really out of the way to get to those towns, they might just revisit them anyways. But like you said, they also have more map that they maybe haven't explored yet. And, you know, maybe looking for that other dungeon might be a priority as well. So some routing decisions to be made by both runners.
Have either of them found the swamp cave? Because they may need Gwaelin as well, and that could play a difference.
I don't remember seeing the swamp cave yet, and it wasn't in either of the basements either, so they're going to have to wander the map to find that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything even on the other continent that's useful. I don't think there is. We now have the Death Necklace, we have the Fighter's Ring accounted for, we have all the quest items accounted for. There's really no reason to go to the other continent, but like you said, Gwaelin is in the swamp cave. if the coordinates happen to be pretty nasty, or the coordinates may lead you to the second continent as well. So that's very possible. And thilotilo is just straight up grinding this Axe Knight for probably for a while. This is one of the strategies that occurs when Hawksness is really convenient and it is an Axe Knight. He finally searches and gets the Fairy Fluke, but that's kind of an afterthought. He wants several more levels before completing the rest of the map here.
Yeah, it'd be tempting to sit here until you could comfortably take down a red dragon, since we know they're everywhere and they can just be so annoying. You don't want to get halfway across the map and get sent back.
Yep, so if this mid-game grind is in your strategy book here, the key is, when do you stop doing this? Because you don't want to get so far where you're ready to fight the Dragon Lord and then you haven't found everything on the map yet, and it becomes a little bit of lost time when you're just wandering the map, running away from everything. But we're not anywhere close to that yet. The strength score is still pretty low. They don't have enough hit points even to withstand 2 Dragon Lord breaths. So it's more ways to go. I could see him easily going all the way to 13 or 14 right now before doing anything else. But that's always kind of the key to this strategy, if it's going to be effective for you. So one of the things is when they do learn Repel, if they haven't learned it yet, the more levels you have, the more agility you gain from those levels, the more Repel will help you traverse the rest of the map when it's time to do that. And a huge power gain here on level 12. So now we're getting closer. We're into triple-digit attack power. It's time to keep an eye on that for potential Dragon Lord stats. But I could see him going one more level here after he goes and heals up.
Now, did I have it backwards? Because Larry's back in the mountain cave here, and I thought he was the one that had been through the mountain cave.
Yes, Larry, I'm pretty confident that he has cleared the mountain cave, so unless he's doing this specifically to set up a grind for the Silver Shield, there's no reason to be back in here. Yeah, since he doesn't maybe know where but he knows where the grave is. Maybe the grave just was less convenient to get to, and he's just choosing to he's just setting up a grind now.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would think, I guess in my mind, I'm with you. I would, knowing I have to go through the grave, or probably have to, I would be headed that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Silver Shield's that worthwhile. At this particular level that he's on, it actually would make quite a difference in terms of defense breaking some of the Sherlock enemies. But we're going to have several more levels still to go, so he might get those defense points anyways. Yeah, so I'm not sure if like a side trip just to get the Silver Shield is the way to go here, but that seems to be what's happening. And thilotilo, I guess, is done?
He's venturing, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to get these coordinates now, and we know that this will lead him to the token. So, great routing choice by thilotilo here. Let's see what we got. Oh, baby. I would say the princess is probably not required. I don't know for sure that that's like on the continent or whatever, but it looks pretty close, just based on the numbers.
Yeah, I can't imagine, unless that's just blocked off by some mountains. I can't imagine that's going to be a tough one. From the guy that caused like 1 million face palms at one seat.
Yeah, so I can see him just running right over to Garenham now. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, he's walking back in the direction of Tantago. I think he's going to start his count. If they don't yet have the return spell, I guess that would make sense. I'm a little behind on which spells they actually have. I had thought that maybe he was fishing for the Repel spell before on that grind. Not sure if they have that yet. But the count is on. He's making his way north and then west.
It is annoying not having a Repel. I mean, I think he probably has a fairy water from one of the chests, but it's annoying trying to make it count with a bunch of little enemies popping in your face.
And this looks really easily countable. I think he is just counting across the water here. Maybe just getting a line. Maybe it's in this little area here, and he can just do a horizontal search path. Like, yeah, that's what he's going to do here. He's just going to do an area search, get it out of the way. He knows it's over here somewhere.
Larry did set up that gold grind, so he's going to be on the way to get his shield.
Yep, and with that, he will be defense breaking green dragons at this point. Only on level 11. And another thing maybe in the back of his mind is that he's not that far away from actually defense breaking that Axe Knight. So if there's an endgame grind where he can just whack it with the sword and just never have to go back to heal himself, that's another way that the silver shield could save you some time. This is taking him several minutes to do all this, but there are some ways where the silver shield can save you some time.
Tilo took a few swings at it and did finally grab the token off the ground there, so he's 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah, and he's about to get the necklace and the sword here. So, kind of a nice comeback from behind. Thilotilo also has the experience lead from that Axe Knight grind as well. It's a relatively small lead, but he was kind of behind in experience and exploration for a while. And I feel like he's taken the lead in both respects now. And he is now in the tablet cave, and he has not yet found the harp. So from his perspective, it could easily be in here. So he does have to make this journey in and out. Not sure if he picked up the outside spell yet on his grind.
Looked like he did.
Yeah, and so in that way, that's another little advantage that he would have over AngryLarry, because AngryLarry did have to walk all the way out of here. So if you do have outside, that saves you 20 or 25 seconds with respect to your opponent's routing. And he'll put that fighter's ring on for the +2. And so Thilotilo is doing a nice job of kind of cleaning up all these errands after gaining access to keys.
I think Larry is good. I think he forgot he had the sword already.
He's trying to buy the flame sword there?
Yeah, he ground it up and then tried to buy it before remembering. But at least he did remember and didn't button mash through that.
Okay, but we have Silver Shield now for Larry, and he's going to carry around a whole bunch of gold with him now for the rest of the game, I suppose. No big deal.
Yeah, so he's a little behind in experience, and he doesn't have the token. But we're gonna have to see how fast Tilo can find the mountain cave, which he did.
And just like that, AngryLarry is in Cantlin and is making a beeline for those coordinates. So it's each one has kind of performed tasks that the other one still needs to do. And there's the harp for Thilotilo. I don't think he needs to do anything more in this dungeon, and smartly casting outside doesn't need to clear the rest of the dungeon the way AngryLarry did. So again, saving a few seconds with respect to what Larry had to do in his own routing.
Wow, so we're less than 45 minutes in, and Thilotilo is ready to just start camping out with these Axe Knights. They're right by a town.
I don't remember if he knows for sure where the harp cave is, or the staff cave. I assume that he has found it. I don't think it was too far away. Looks like he's going for this cave here.
Yeah, it was quick.
Okay, so with this out of the way, and I know he knows where the jerk cave is as well. I think that was in Tanteagle basement, so he may choose to head back there, and then just shoot straight over to Hawk's Nest for a grind. So he is in go mode. Grind and go. So Larry has to quickly do these last few tasks. He's making his way over to the other side of this water where the token is. A little bit further north than where Thilotilo started his search by a couple of notches, but it's going to do an area search similar to Thilotilo. Just, I feel like he's slightly north.
Yeah, he's a little bit away yet.
All right, so thilotilo is on this Axnite. And the Axnite, it's a beautiful thing because they cast Stop Spell on top of everything else, so they just aren't going to have to heal themselves up very much. This could be a really fast grind. We're talking about potentially 500 experience points per minute. I could see them taking down an Axnite every 20 seconds. So we could quickly see, you know, he could have the 10,000 experience necessary for whatever level that is in the next 8 or 9 minutes, 10 minutes. And here we have level 13. So 5 more power. It is generally the power stat that holds you back. So 124 attack power, not quite there yet. A little bit low on hit points too.
Finally got a good chunk of MP to go along with everything else.
And defense power is fantastic, so I'm not going to have a problem there. And if he wanted, he could start thinking about fighting his way down, because he is defense breaking so many enemies now. But might be 1 level early to start thinking about that. At any rate, he'll finish up his resources here before healing up. But yeah, we could start looking at stats now for Dragon Lord Battle. 124 attack power could be enough under some circumstances, but they just don't have enough MP to balance that out. So we'll need one or the other. We'll need some more magic for healing, or we'll need some more attack power for damage against the Dragon Lord. But we're not that far away, and 96 HP is already pretty much there. You know, a lot of people like 97. 96 when you have 93 defense power is pretty much fine, though. He will likely get a little bit more HP anyways on these next level ups.
Yeah, I think Larry gave up on the token, but he is about to get to the stones here.
And we have level 12 for Larry as well. The pretty big power boost for him.
Yeah, that miscount to get that token is going to cost him probably about 1,500 experience.
Someone in chat is saying that they did eventually get the token there. So it may have taken several tries to search for it, but looks like we're going to give him credit for the token.
Yep, right as they said that, I saw in his items, he did pull up the items, and I did see Erdrick's in there, so... Yeah!
So grind and go. We got the dual grind and go, 47 minutes in. The seat has turned into a sprint. I'm not even sure how this happened. It's not like the start was like too crazy. Yeah, it just shows you how strong both of these runners are at this game. They're very, very skilled, and both AngryLarry and thilotilo, I believe, are serious contenders to win the whole tournament.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. And then, I mean, it is a great start when you have a hand axe and Erdrick sword before you have to kill anything. But they could be, you know, if there's some big levels in 14 or 15 here, they could be looking at right about an hour seed.
Yeah, we're about to see level 14 for thilotilo with this Axnite. And the question in chat, yeah, they're both 3-1, so whoever wins this is going to get a first round bye in the playoff rounds. Only 1 power, got a ton of hit points, and didn't catch the MP. I think it was a little bit of extra MP. Still a little bit low on attack power, but we are now defense breaking Axnites. If he wanted to, he could probably just swing at this Axnite instead of using his magic. And to me, it might be time to fight your way down, but the Axnite is a really fast grind, so maybe that's even better than fighting your way down in this case. But he'll find here, maybe, if he tries it, that he doesn't even need the hurt more. He could just stay here right now and just keep swinging at it. But he is going to go refill his MP anyways. It's a very brief walk to refill it, and it is slightly faster if you can one-shot them occasionally with the Hurt More spell. It would be pretty common for him to be able to two-shot the Axe Knight, because 125 attack power he's going to be doing in the 30s for damage pretty often. So if you wanted to, that's one of the ways. If you do just try and two-shot it with your sword, you're saving all that MP, and you just pretty much never have to heal yourself again and take this walk back and forth to the town. But regardless, he's back in. He's going to try for level 15, which is at 7,500 experience points. That's about 10 more Axe Knights.
The jerk being in the basement of Tannenjail too, to answer a question in chat. They can just stop as soon as they're ready to go and pick that up.
So I want to point out a slight strategy difference. AngryLarry is not bothering to walk back and forth to the inn. He's going to just take a Death Warp, because we are very close to Tanteagle, and he has managed to squeeze out 2 or 3 extra battles in the process. He just had a critical hit when he was down to like no resources, and now he has 96 defense power, and he's defense breaking Axe Knights. So it looks like he was intending to take a Death Warp, and I would not be surprised now if Larry is refilling with the intention of fighting his way down now, because he was fully intending to take a Death Warp there and then just come back to the spot. So he's walking back. If he has not gone to the Jerk Cave in the basement, maybe that's why he's doing this. I'm not sure why he would have walked back when he could have gone with the Death Warp there, but anyways.
If he does think, I don't, unless you were maybe throwing on a death necklace, I don't think 14's gonna do it. I don't think you could do it with a death necklace either. I don't think there's a way to bend those numbers to make them work. So if he does dive here, that would be quite a risk.
Yeah, it's always a risk. But when you do have 96 defense power, depending on what's on the bottom floor, if the level doesn't get you there, a lot of times you can walk around on the bottom floor and you never have to heal, just because you're defense breaking so many enemies. So depending on what's the mini boss, if the mini boss is a blue dragon or an Axe Knight, by the time Larry gets to 14, he'll be defense breaking blue dragons as well. So I don't know. It's always a risk to fight your way down. I think because it is an Axe Knight spike tile here, they'll probably just stay here because it is a really fast grind. And both players are continuing to go with the Hurt More instead of just trying to two-shot it with the sword. I guess it probably is slightly faster, although you do have to walk back and refill your MP. I don't know. Meanwhile, we do have level 15 for thilotilo, and now we're getting really close. I think it's probably possible to win at 15, because 126 hit points gives you the chance for a couple of double attacks. You don't always get them, though. But if you do, yeah, it's really close. He would probably need 3 double attacks, so it's prudent for him to get one more level here, but now it's getting really close, though.
Yeah, you're asking for a lot of things to go right on those numbers, but the defense, like you mentioned, the defense power being so high, it'd be very tempting to dive with those numbers.
So level 16 is, unless it's a truly terrible level up, that's probably going to be the level. Any number of ways could get him there. If he just gets 4 more hit points, he'll have a comfortable death necklace situation. If he gets even 3 or maybe 5 more power, that would do it. if he gets, let's say, 3 power and like 4 MP. So there's a lot of ways that level 16 is going to get him there. So with that in mind, he is going and taking care of this errand of getting the drop, so that when he gets the level, he can just book it out of there. It was time for him to heal up anyways, so... do they not have the return spell yet, by the way? Because they both kind of walked all the way back here. I imagine they must have it, but if they don't, and you do decide to go at 15, you're going to want a set of wings to get you home. Long look from Larry doing some math, and looks like he's going to just go back to the grind.
Yeah, that return spell is often the last thing that crosses your mind.
Thilotilo is acting like he is going to fight his way down, because he has left the immediate area of Tantegel Castle.
Definitely.
And he looks like he's going to get these last few experience points on the way down to the Dragon Lord. He's going to get some torches and some herbs here. Make sure you're fully stocked on herbs. And he's all set with that. So he'll take an inn here, maybe cast Repel with his last 3 MP here. And make a beeline for Sharlock.
And meanwhile, if anything goes wrong, Larry's just about 2,000 experience behind him. So.
Yeah, 2,000 experience is really only about 4 minutes when you're talking about grinding a defense broken Axe Knight. So it's not that big of a lead. It's like you said, one failed dive generally takes more than 4 minutes of your time. So absolutely, we'll see what sort of level up he does end up getting and what sort of Sharlock enemies there are in here. He has quite good agility, even on the strength HP. He still has about 95 agility, so he's a favorite to run even from a red dragon now. But I can't recall if any of the Sharlock enemies had the sleep spell, for example. But if they don't, he's probably going to make it down there with very close to full resources. And he'll probably pick off these enemies like the wizard and the werewolf. He's defense breaking amongst the Sharlock enemies. The wizard, the werewolf, the star wyvern, the green dragon, and the axe knight at this point. So at any time he happens to find one of those and he knows they don't have any special abilities, it's like a free triple-digit experience points. Here is the red dragon, though, and it's not a lock to be able to run away from this. He manages it on his 3rd try. 1 step and another red dragon. And 1 more step and a golem. Fortunately, golems, you can run away from those, but...
It'll be interesting to see a lot of the enemies you'd want to take out if you're defense breaking things. We know the Axe Knight does have Dragon Lord Breath, although it's very low percent. We know that the green dragon is pesky, and I don't think we've seen very many werewolves or star wyverns. Looks like the wizard is nothing to speak of. It'll be interesting to see if something has a wombo combo that might throw him some trouble.
Yeah, otherwise, it's a pretty good plan from thilotilo. The Axe Knight grind is fast, but if you can save some walking time by fighting while you're walking, this works too. Now, if he happens to not find the right enemy mix, because it's just all red dragons and golems, then it can backfire as well, because you just can't get to the 9750 that you need for the next level. But he is finding a nice mix so far of wizards and other enemies that he can fight. There are 3 different zones, though, throughout Sharlock, so now he's just entered the 2nd zone where the whole enemy mix has changed. So depending on what he finds here, well, we're going to just have a hero walk all the way through that floor, but more wizards, so the plan is working out so far.
Yeah, unfortunately for Larry, he hasn't been able to make up very much experience with the Wizards being just about as good as the Axe Knights for experience, and they've been plentiful so far.
He's cut about 500 into the lead. I mean, you will expect this dedicated grind to go a little bit faster for experience. And he does now reach 15, and we'll see if Larry has the same idea and heads off to Sherlock here, or if he's going to just stay here for 16. Or if he thinks he already has the stats at 15, he'll run from everything and try and go. So those are kind of your three options at this point. And thilotilo is now about to enter the third zone, which again is a new enemy set from amongst the possible enemies that could be within Sherlock, and the red dragon is going to be down here. This zone extends all the way to the Dragon Lord, so the red dragon will be in the way the entire trip through, and he should really cast Heal More here. This is a really big blunder by not doing it on that last turn, because you have to remember that you are going to be getting a level up. So the MP that you have now, you don't necessarily need all of it. If you happen to get 20 power on this level up, you just don't need all that MP. So you got to give yourself a chance and go ahead and burn the Heal More. Fortunately, it was a low damage roll from the red dragon, and then when he was staring at 1 hit point, he kind of thought better of it and decided to go ahead and burn the Heal More. So, and now he's starting to use herbs as well to kind of top off so he doesn't get in that situation again. But whenever there's red dragons running around, nothing is free in Sherlock.
Yeah, he's probably still fine, but that definitely has the potential to make this very interesting.
I think he's still fine if he doesn't burn anymore, because he's almost certain to get the hit points on the level up for the Death Necklace. And if he doesn't, he could get a decent power boost. There's a lot of ways that he can still get there, even with only 9 Heal Mores here.
Larry, when he did hit 15, he took a long look at the stats, so I anticipate he's going to make the same decision and take a dive as soon as he runs out of resources here.
So here's the other problem. This red dragon is all over the place on the bottom floor, so if somehow 16 is like an empty eye level, it'll be hard for thilotilo to just run around like in the desert tiles over here, fighting his way up to 17, because every time you encounter the red dragon, you're in danger of burning some resources. And you just are relying on heal walking your way through, so it's going to be pretty important to see what exactly he gets on this level up here. It's like 1 enemy away now. And not that enemy. That's the wrong enemy. And just to get away on the second try. This enemy won't quite get him there either. Werewolves don't have very much experience points to offer. But the next victory for sure will give him the level, and he does have to fight the mini-boss no matter what.
Yeah,
so
he's
he'll
guaranteed.
Be at 16, assuming he gets through this red dragon.
He's guaranteed that spike tile is going to do it for him, so I doubt he fights anything else.
And I like using the herb there to top off. And he does have some spare MP if he wants to cast a sleep spell on the Stone Man. I would really... I like that play, and he does do it. Because you can... You can get through this fight sometimes without taking any damage if he just stays asleep, so... You want to give yourself that opportunity. Save all those herbs for later.
Yeah, the hero sleep right there.
Yeah, so here we go. Let's see if he gets the stats. 8 power is pretty much going to do it. 4 hit points also does it. So he could use the Death Necklace or just, not use it. At 137 and his current MP of 72, that is dicey. But he does have defense and hit points for some potential double attacks. This is not a free fight, but he is a favorite. Deciding that using the Death Necklace would take him all the way down to 97 hit points, which gives you some other potential problems that you have to deal with. Potential double healing turns and all that kind of stuff. So deciding against the Death Necklace and he's going to rely on getting some double attacks. And he'll probably want to be using these herbs now to try and get... well, does he have any more herbs?
How is that for?
I kind of feel like you want to be full coming into the Dragon Lord too. It's not like it's not like an easy victory. This is... well, unfortunately, he's only going to get one turn to start. And what was it? Was it a 9?
Yeah, it was a 9.
There's a 16, that's 25. 9's the minimum roll, by the way. It's 9 to 18 right now. It's 10, that's 35 by my count. And Larry's now at 16. It's 47, unless I missed something. And he's already down to 50 MP. He's going to need some rolls here, and he's going to need a double attack at some point.
There's a good roll.
He's in the mid-70s now. I'm starting to lose count, but he's going to need to hustle here. Now he's going to have a double attack. Pretty much guaranteed. So here's the double. And unfortunately, he gets a min roll out of it, but double attack is huge for him here. One more would probably seal it. He may not need it. He is getting some reasonable rolls now, so he might not need it. I think he's a favorite, just even without doubles from here on out. But that one was really a good thing for him. And doesn't need to swing here at 47 in my opinion. He decides not to. It's 12.5% chance of death if you do. So... gonna be down to the last heal more. I think he has it. It's gonna get 2 or maybe 3 more attacks. Last chance.
Got another 9.
Oh, and a 15 is enough. So that one double attack was the key. And well done by thilotilo. A little bit of a nail biter at the very end, and let's see, 164 was the total damage, so fortunately for him, DL2 did not have maximum 165 hit points. 164 was just enough. And as AngryLarry enters Charlotte Castle, thilotilo finishes the seed. Congratulations! That was a fast one, 107.19.
Yeah, just a great run, start to finish. Some good decisions on stopping and grinding when he did. So, Larry had that early lead, but it really kind of took a turn when thilotilo decided to go ahead and take care of the grave the first time, and Larry decided to come back through later.
I think the way it worked out for him as well, he found keys in the first major dungeon that he entered, and he ended up setting up his gold grind early. And I think that helped him as well, because AngryLarry had basically cleared both dungeons and had not done his gold grind yet. And I kind of feel like when AngryLarry decided to go back afterwards and make a special trip to do the gold grind for the Silver Shield, I think that was costly. I think he burned 4 or 5 minutes doing that, and he has more than enough defense without it, as we can see by the stats here. So I think that ended up costing him some time, but it's hard to know when you're kind of in it and, you know, things are not so clear until you see it afterwards. But yeah, both guys ran great races, I thought, and just a couple of different little differences in the routing there, like we just mentioned, seems to be the difference, because AngryLarry is probably just about 5 minutes behind.
Yeah, I can't really think of too many things. I mean, nobody really did anything wrong. That was just a really well-run race.
What's going on? Is this thilotilo in the Discord?
It is. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
GG, sir. Fantastic race.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, congrats first of all on going 4-1. You're going to have yourself a bye in the knockout stages, so that's exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting, especially given that I started 0-1 with getting matched up against Nescard in the first round. That being able to pull off 4 straights I'm really happy about that.
Absolutely, it gives you some good momentum going in. Having 4 in a row going into the knockout stages. You're kind of on a winning streak, so hopefully that'll continue. And so what was going on with the seed? I guess let's get a general thought from you first on the seed.
Well, it was just it was really generous is the best word I would use for it. Getting the money and then being a few steps away from Cole, which had Erdrick's armor and a hand axe, just get you started off real fast. The biggest issue I had this entire seed was figuring out where to grind early on, because I felt like I could take on more than what was being offered in those second zones, but if you went a little further than that, you hit green and red dragons, and that was not a good place to be. So I grinded up a little bit, and then thought, so I grinded up a little bit, and then just said, let's keep exploring, see what we can find. Found a bunch of different little things. Never found anything particularly atrocious in the exploration, except for when I ran into a red dragon in the mountain cave. But the big thing we needed was keys. I had found Garenham already, and new keys were going to be a big deal, and I still hadn't found Rimbledar, but when I found the grave after that, or after finding Sharlock, my thought was, well, maybe I can find a key here and completely not have to even worry about Rimbledar. And so I went in, found a key, and then was going to open the 3 chests, was going to death warp back to Tantagel and do my gold grind, and I couldn't get killed. Nothing would kill me. And so finally, I opted to go ahead and just go out and then come back in, grind a second key, so I could just dive down in the bottom of the grave. Either I'd get killed and go ahead and start my gold grind, or I'd see what the last 2 chests. Unfortunately, in that 4th chest was the Stones of Sunlight, so that worked out well in my favor. It also worked well in my favor that I failed to run from the first Stone Man I fought, or Axe Knight, that I fought in that cave, because that's when I found out he had a stop spell, and I went, let's see if we can just chip away at him. And sure enough, I did that, was able to get to level 6, then Excellent moved to Metal Slime a few moments later, and that got me really close, when I killed the Axe Knight, that's what got me hurt more, and then killing the Metal Slime gave me that much closer to the next level already. Then getting the key in the grave, the stones in the grave, from there it was just go, go, go. And then, of course, as soon as I go check and find out the Hawksness enemy is Axe Knight, it just becomes a question of when do I explore versus when do I grind, because it was, and then you go into, finally kick the keys, go to Garenham, find Erdrick's sword there. There was no excess motion in this seat at all. Everything just kind of came to you and was there from start to finish. It was a phenomenal seat. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, well said. And I think that period that you mentioned about what went on in the grave was the real turning point actually in the race, because at the time AngryLarry had a reasonable experience lead over you, and he had actually found the mountain cave and was able to full clear it on the first try and had the harp already. But when you made that decision and we had talked about it like a minute before you actually did it, but because there were a few options for you there, and when you did decide to go out and back in and then take that second key to dive the grave, and then those battles that happened in there, just some good fortune there as well, but that decision, I think, was part of the turning point of the race, because you were able to do that all in one go. AngryLarry had to come back later on. He happened to find, I think he was down to 1 MP when he got the top chest, so he had to make a second trip later to do the bottom of the grave. So some things like that was kind of the key, I think, was deciding to get the second key and then going down while you were there, instead of using that one key to go back to Tanteagle, and then you'd have to come back later for the stones. I thought that was a good move.
Yeah, it worked out really nicely for me. It was also very nice, like I said, that, again, there was a lot of fortune in there when the Axe Knight, killing that Axe Knight, in fact, the Axe Knight was killable at that point, and then I got an excellent move on him, I think, to make that easier. And then after that, that got me hurt more, which allowed me to survive long enough to make that dive. Just being able to survive long enough to do that was pretty fortuitous as well.
So let's see. Why don't we go back? The very beginning of the seed, I think you had some gold and a cursed belt, and you had, I think, 11 strength. So you decided that was good enough to just fight some enemies, and I kind of like that call. Like, if you had 4 or 5 strength, I assume you would have ran around trying to find a town. But instead, you went and started grinding some enemies, and you took a minute or two doing that, and then you just happened to see a town just pop onto your screen. So then it almost you took an early reset, I think, because you eventually found out that there was an Axe Knight for sale there or whatever, and that. I don't know. That whole sequence I thought was interesting. There was a divergence right away.
So what happened was I wasn't specifically grinding. I was trying to explore out and see if I could find anything, but just kill what I couldn't process. And then as soon as I saw the second town, I was trying to take the swamp, or I saw coal. I was trying to take the swamp to get there to avoid encounters, and misjudged my HP and killed myself in the swamp one tile before I got there, which point I had to reset because I wouldn't have installed to get the hand axe. So that was just a little bit of boneheadedness on my part, which caused that whole situation. Otherwise, I could have potentially sped it up another 30 seconds or so.
And by the way, while we were chatting, AngryLarry does take down the Dragon Lord and finishes the seed in a very quick 1:15:33 as well. So excellent race from Larry. Was within 6 minutes or so, 6 or 7 minutes. So you guys both did a great job on it. Kudos to you guys for a really quick one. Is Larry here?
Larry's in chat with us.
GG, Larry.
Hello, GG.
GG.
How amazing did I play? Let me know.
That was good stuff. I thought you both played really well. Let's get a quick just overview of what you thought of the seed first of all. What do you think?
I mean, it was nice and free and easy. Everything was very open, very easily accessible. We had the Silver Shield and Flame Sword right from the start, as everyone probably saw already. Probably order mattered. Order in doing stuff. I went to Garen's grave. I didn't dip the lower chest because I was going to take that key and buy other keys. And then I found that other place that had the keys and took a chance of going right back to start with that key, and hope I never had to go back in the basement of Garringham or the lower floors. And no, I did, but it was nice. It was nice and just overall free and easy, just very relaxing.
Yeah, I think that sums it up well. There just were a little bit of differences in routing that were not really anyone's fault. It just so happened. Like you said, I think we're on 1 MP when you got those top 3 chests, so you just kind of exited the cave. And thilotilo, when he was in that same situation, still had a bunch of MP, so he decided to go back in and get a second key out of the same chest, and then just dove it immediately.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame the layoff. The 1 week I didn't play on that. I could have certainly exited the cave, came back in, got the key, and then went to the lower floors. That was definitely an oversight on my end.
Well, if I recall, I think you were down to 1 magic point. So yeah. I can sort of understand not doing it even just from that perspective, but
the magic really didn't stop me from doing it. What stopped me from doing it was the fact that I was looking for whatever that town's name is that sells keys. Why it's just totally escaped. Breckenary? No, not Breckenary. It's just totally escaping me right
Rimmildar.
Now. Rimmildar. There we go. I'm so good at this game. I finished 3rd in the Chaos Tournament, by the way. But I just didn't want to use that key, and I was tunnel focused on not using the key. All right, let's skip those 2 chests because I have Garringham, I have the treasury, and maybe I can luck out with the treasure chest in Rimmildar.
Yeah, it's hard to say, because if it had turned out that there was nothing down there, then, that would have worked out well for you. You never ended up going down there, so There are a couple of other little things, like I think Tilo happened to have outside by the time you found the tablet cave, so like that saves 20 seconds there. A couple little things like that. So just kind of the way you guys found things in different order. I think you had managed to full clear mountain, and you had the harp and the staff. And Tilo's first successful dungeon venture was that grave. So, and then you kind of had the opposite items. And I think the order, like you said, it did end up mattering a little bit. And it just worked out that way.
Yeah, 3 places you can go from start, like north, south, and west. They all had stuff. And not getting a second key and totally doing the rest of Garingham, and then like grinding for the flame sword gold when I already had Edric's sword was kind of dumb as well.
Yeah, I guess there was 1 or 2 things I was going to ask you about with that as well. I think you were pretty well into the game, and I think you had explored fully both dungeons, or mostly, I don't know if you did the bottom of the grave yet or not, but then it looked like you kind of went out of your way to go back in there just to set up the silver shield grind. I'm not sure if I don't know. I don't know if you had something else you had to do in there or not, but
no,
it took a few minutes to do that. But no big deal.
Yeah, and I opened 2 extra chests because I was definitely uncertain of where the gold chest was. So I figured let's just take everything, because I still had to search for a way to die as well at that point.
Right.
So,
and the one other thing, I think Tilo, when you guys both went into Hawk's Nest like at the exact same time, which was pretty cool. Tilo at that juncture just decided to grind several more levels before doing the rest of the seed. Sometimes that can backfire, and I think in this one it was helpful. He ended up kind of pulling ahead with the experience without going so far as to run the risk of not finding everything in time or whatever. So that was another difference in the strategies. I think you spent like maybe a half a level there. You did it for a little while, but then you kind of moved on. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else happened. The start was kind of interesting. I think you went out and found the towns and the hand axe immediately. It took Tilo a couple of minutes to catch up with that. So you did have the early lead for a while. So yeah, it was a fun race to watch. It was like a sprint.
Yeah, my chat developed a new fun game to play to pass the time as well. It's kind of awesome.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, we played WNBA star, female soccer player, or female actress, and it was quite entertaining.
Oh, that sounds rough.
Yeah, and then I forgot to then I grinded the gold for the flame sword. So thanks Dark Magician 1184 for the distraction. Shout outs.
Well, at least you didn't actually buy the flame sword, because that would have cost you an extra trip over.
I was hoping you guys thought I did.
It was close.
Like I'm like that would be totally worth it if they thought I did. But yeah, good game. Good luck to you in the bracket round. I will be starting in the first round, so that'd be fun.
Same to you. Good luck.
Thank you, and thanks guys for doing this.
Thanks, Larry.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Larry.
I'll say good luck to everyone in this race, broadcast and otherwise, because I know Captain Green's in the going to be in the play-in, and then Tyrannex is tracking and in the brackets, and of course AngryLarry is also in the brackets, and then your commentators JJ and Up2 and G are both have bye weeks as well, so it's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be crazy, as you guys just showed. I mean, there's a lot of talent. And obviously, I don't think it's not been said, but Larry really didn't do anything wrong, and it was really just a great race all the way around. So it just kind of goes to show the talent level for where we're all at right now.
Yeah, this field is insane.
Yeah, I think another funny thing from what Larry was saying, but I think you'd said something similar. Such an easy seed, and yet there were red dragons everywhere. We thought that would be much more of an issue than it wound up being, and I think that plays more into just how experienced you guys are, more so than being an oversight on our part.
Seemed like, that for a little while you guys weren't getting hit points. It definitely seemed like if there were a lot of tough enemies out there that it could have been a slower seed, but you guys did find a way to power through all that, and you eventually got the stats.
That was actually my thought process when it came to grinding the Axe Knight, is I wanted to have enough resources to be sure I could get away from a red dragon, since that's what had scared me out of the mountain, or sent me out of the mountain cave that first dive. I wanted to make sure that in the rest of my exploration, if I came across a red dragon, I had a reasonable chance of taking it.
Yeah, that was a great choice. I don't think Larry was too far behind you in making a similar decision, but I think that's something newer runners might not decide to do, or might, have all the resources that you had and just kind of kept running into that brick wall till it fell over.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear your thoughts on when to end that Axe Knight grind. I wasn't totally sure if you were fishing for a certain spell. I don't remember if you had learned Repel yet, or if there was some stat like you mentioned, or so yeah, that's interesting.
But yeah, any final thoughts outside of what you already gave us, thilotilo?
Not really. I have, as I mentioned earlier, I'm on a 4-game winning streak, but I have not felt particularly great about the way I have been playing the last few weeks, both in the races, in the tournament, and just in side races. And the last 2 days on practice, I've had a lot of multiple seeds like this, and I feel like I've played them really well. And then after this one, I feel like this is the best played seed I've had, definitely all tournament. And so it was really exciting to be able to kind of put all that together and put on a really good performance for such a big game. Hopefully I can carry that into the brackets.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have some time between now. I don't think we have very many races left in this round. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but I know that the play-in race that you'd mentioned earlier, we just had a quad finished on the other channel here, so I won't put any spoilers out there, but 2 more play-in race spots were decided in that race. So if you watch this race, shoot on over to the past broadcasts on Randomania 1 and check that one out. Looks like it was a pretty close couple of races. But that should be a week, just under a week from now, right? The 12th, I believe, on Wednesday night. So yeah, a week from tonight. And then we'll see like you'd mentioned, the 3 of us have another week to wait around after that. So we're going to have to keep busy.
Yeah, it's easy to get rusty in that amount of time. We played 4 games in 4 weeks, and then we'll play 1 game in 4 weeks.
Right, exactly. So we'll have to keep the practice going, but yeah, it's definitely better to have the momentum swinging in your favor as you do than to not.
So you're saying that play-in race is happening in the midweek, and are there no other races going on that whole week? That's like a week off for everyone before the brackets start?
Definitely there wouldn't be any brackets set, I don't believe anyway, before that race. I think they'll be set that night and probably open game to start scheduling.
I got you.
As early as the 13th.
Nice.
So yeah, great race. I think we'll let everybody go, but definitely give a follow to everybody you've seen here tonight, including Captain Green, our restreamer, and Tyrannex, our tracker. Fantastic job as always, and as Tila had mentioned, still alive in the tournament as well. So give them a follow and check out their matches coming up. And thank you very much to Larry and Tilo for putting on a good clinic for us tonight. Other than that, I'm not sure. I don't know if we're gonna be able to kick it to anything or not. We'll check out here, but we'll let Captain Green navigate that. And any last thoughts up to?
No, I think we're closing in on the bracket rounds. I think round 5 of Swiss has been exciting because the nature of Swiss means that the later rounds are, highly competitive, evenly matched races. So it's been fun to watch everything play out. We have a little bit more left to go before brackets are determined. So this tournament's heating up.
It definitely is, and we've definitely got your match left here in round 5, so that'll determine a lot as well, including how many play-in racers we get into the bracket. So, looking forward to that one. I think tomorrow night at 9:30. Is that right?
Yeah, it's been rescheduled for tomorrow night, 9:30. It's a little funny how that worked out. That somehow determines how many spots there are or whatever. So I don't know. So that'll be fun to iron all that out tomorrow night. And yeah. Well, I see on the back of my, I don't want to say too much, but on the back of my mind, I'm thinking that if everything is done by, late this week and there's not the play-in race until next Wednesday, maybe we can catch up on some of those vodcasts, get all the races aired.
Really hopeful for that too. We've had a few good ones go by, and I know we got caught up on one vodcast last week, but I'm hoping we can get more done. It has been just awesome, the amount of races that we've had broadcast. I will say that it's far exceeded my expectations coming into the tournament. So a big thank you to a lot of our restreamers like Captain Green here and Wolfman, Reusation, and several more that aren't leaping to mind immediately, but have done just a great job keeping us broadcast and getting the majority of these races on air. It's been over 100, right? By the time we're done with it, over 100 races in Swiss flags.
Yeah, in like 5 weeks or something, which is pretty crazy when you think about how many of them there were. So
yeah. Well, I think that about does it here. So thank you again, all the random maniacs out there, and definitely tune into any Dragon Warrior Racing, along with, I know we've got Zelda 1 tournament, so a lot of great stuff going on here. I'll let Captain Green show us out to whoever we're going to raid or watch next. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.